Hey, good morning, everybody. It is dark 30 in the morning, and I woke up and I said, Lord, I just want to praise you. I want to get out early. I'm going to head to the water before everybody gets out there so I can pray just with me and the Lord. Today, get up and just spend time with the Lord. I feel that closeness, that intimacy. We're coming up on the birth of Jesus, and all the stories will be told about how he was born and how the wise man came. But more than that, they had to have an intimacy, a closeness to know and to feel for those wise men to even be sent to where he was. So that tells us that we have to get close to God, get close into the Word, so that we can recognize when he's sending his signs and his wonders, when he's sending his word, when we hear his voice. We have to, be still. It says, have peace, be still, and know that is God. And so when we quiet ourselves, that's when we get closer and closer to God. That's when he speaks to us. And so I've been trying to get this word to you for about a week now, and I've been having some technical difficulties. But let me go ahead. I'm going to start in John chapter 3, verses 16, 17, and then we'll switch over to Isaiah 9, verses 6 and 7. So the book of John, chapter 3, verse 16 reads, For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into this world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 says, For unto us a child is born, and unto us a son is given. The government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. And so the word that the Lord kept saying to me, he kept speaking to me, saying that for he so loved this world at this time that he changed our government. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? He made a change in our government so that his peace could come back upon the earth, so that his love can be shown upon this earth around the world. I believe when God started giving me this word a year ago, and he kept saying, For I will no longer cover the sins of the people, that I've seen the oppression of my people, that God looked down into this earth and he said, I've got to stop this. All matter of evil is roaming upon this earth. People are not caring about each other. People are not taking care of each other. And God said, no. I am a God of peace and of love. From the beginning, when he sent Jesus into this world, he said that he is the Prince of Peace and that he would establish it, that the government is up on his shoulders. And so I believe that when we all begin to come together and pray earnestly, everyone needs to go vote. Everyone needs to get out. And I know some are saying we shouldn't get caught up in government. We shouldn't get caught up in these things. But we were told in the word, Romans chapter 13, to uphold the laws of our land, and to, make sure that we follow those laws, because the government was put in place by who? By God. Okay, so we know that when they get out of hand, guess what? He governs them. And so when we, the masses, began to recognize that unity in numbers, that we would be silent no more and that we would speak out, that is how we brought about a change. And so God is saying today that when we come together in unity, when we come together in love, when we come together in the multitudes, that we can change the world. We can cause changes, but we want to make sure we're causing right changes. We want things to be positive. We don't want to overthrow our foundations like the Constitution and create something else, something worse. We want it to be better. We can amend the Constitution, but we do not want to throw it out. And I'm not sure why that's coming up. That wasn't even part of this morning. But God is saying we do not want to throw out the Constitution. We can amend it, but we need to make sure that we're amending it with the right choices for the people. And so, everybody's talking about change, and there's a shift, and there is. And we have to make sure that God is in it. He has allowed, for whatever reason, that Trump got in. We've had a large number of men come out of positions in the White House and around the government. And it has allowed for women to come in to those positions. And so I was listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes the other day, and he was preaching, and he said, God has daughters too. And I want you ladies to know that there is a place for us in the kingdom. There is a place for us in this government. There is a place for you and me in this world. And that we ought to know that we matter. Men, you need to make room for God's daughters, because we're here. And God is saying for such a time as this, he's allowing the women in. Women have always been there. They just did not allow the women to speak in the biblical times. And so I think it's brought about some issues in our world, in our time, because the men didn't accept us and they felt like women shouldn't be up over a man. But it's not to usurp authority. It's the fact that we also have authority too. We have a say in this world. God said that let us make man in our own image. And it said, and he created him male and female. In him, he created them male and female. So he created both man and woman in the spiritual realm at the same time. However, he did not make woman until after he had made man. And then, of course, the story goes on that from within man, God pulled out Eve and formed her unto the liking that Adam would like her. And so that's why a woman is always trying to please her man. And a man is always looking to work to change something, to fix something, because God called him, made him first, and put him keeper over everything, put him over the animals, put him over the fields, put him over everything that God created. But watch this, except people. We both have opinions. We both have rights. God did not give man dominion over the woman. He said that we are what? Two that become one. And that in doing that, even in the wedding vows, when it says to obey, that means that we come into agreement. We are to work together. The woman is the man's helpmate. She's not to hurt him. She's not to pull him down, tear him down. And he is not to physically hurt her. He is not to leave her out, but he's her stability. He is the one that makes sure that things are running smoothly. And how do we do that? We do that with unity, and we do that with love, and we do that with making sure that we understand that each of us have an authority in this realm, in this kingdom, in this earth, on this planet. We all have some authority, but there's always just one authority that we're under, and that's our God. So we know that he is the supreme authority, but there's no time that you're not under authority. If you work on a job, you have a boss. If you own a company, guess what? You have the government, the IRS, whomever, CDFTA, you got your taxes, you got all these things. You're always going to be subject to someone or something as long as you're in this earthly realm, because that's the way it was set up. And so, but I need us to know that we have to come from a standpoint of God's love. We have to come from a standpoint that we are here not to hurt people, but to love each other. I've noticed a shift even in employment. I know there was a package put back on there so that we could bring back affirmative action. I'm not hearing what's going on with that, because when I go into the stores, I'm not seeing affirmative action at work. I am seeing that it's very one-sided in the people that have been hired. And so we have to start to look at that as a nation if we're going to start to look at the homeless factor, the helpless factor, the fact that so many are without health care, or proper health care now, should I say, because of the Affordable Care Act that they keep calling the Obama Act. It allowed for everyone to get health care, and so now it's proper health care, making sure that we have the right doctors in place, making sure we have the right vaccines and the medicines in every area, not some areas, but all areas. This is the United States of America. There should be no divide in us at this point for pay. We're still fighting equal pay. We're still fighting for medical. We're still fighting for things that we should not have to fight for in this day and time in God's world. When God said that he is love, he said, for God so loved the whole world that he gave his only begotten son. He didn't just love some of the people in the world. He said he loved all the people in the world. And so he gave his only son. But more than that, he sent him first to be the blueprint. He sent him so that he can show us how to walk out this journey called life, and that we can go forward and know that he conquered everything. Man will fail. We'll make mistakes. And that's why he didn't tell us to follow man. He said, follow him who knew no sin. And that was Jesus, the only Son, our risen King. And so this morning I wanted to bring out these points. Let's go back into John chapter 3. It says, I'm going to go back, start at verse 19 this time. It said, and this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be exposed. Some people just won't do right. We know that. We're calling for unity. We're calling for people to come together. Some people thrive off of evilness. They thrive off of negativity. And so when we see that, we have to learn to begin to rebuke that spirit, to cast it down, to begin to pray for those people that we're seeing doing the evil. God has allowed me to see so many things lately. I've seen car thefts happen. I've seen car rings happen. I've been on phones with local government, state government for the last 2 weeks because of some of the negativities that are going on right here in Southern California. And somebody has to take a stance that right has to be right and wrong is wrong, no matter how you look at it. Let's go back into the verse. Verse 21 says, but he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God. Sometimes we have to see that, what? When people are right, they're just right. Don't get mad at them for being right. I've seen people get mad at people because they're right. And they'll throw out and they'll say, oh, they always want to be right. No, well, we were inbred to be right. Because if we are the sons of God, if we are the children of God, then in him was no sin. And so when you see a person with the character that always wants to do right, don't get mad at that person. Just look at the standpoint of where they're coming from. They're trying to do right. They're trying to do right in this world. They're trying to live right. They're trying to live a holy life. God said that he's a holy God, and that he's looking for that. He's requiring that of us, of his people. Why? Because the world is watching us. If we're the leaders, then we have to lead. We have to look like the leaders of God. We shouldn't look like the leaders of the world. There should be no schemes and scams in the church house of God. There should be no scams going on with the leaders of the church house. Yet we're always going to have people trying to pull us down. We're always have people trying to send things at us. But what? We are supposed to hold ourselves accountable to do right. And there's times when we do stuff